But so far, it's not coming down too bad out there. But it is raining. It's a welcome change. It really is.
Yeah.
I like the rain.
Pouring when I left this morning from Marin County. It was just coming down in buckets.
Yeah. It was earlier, but it's sort of died down now a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the rain. I prefer the rain over the heat. Like, I don't like summer. My least favorite season. I don't like summer at all.
I hear this a lot. It can be pretty brutal.
Yeah. Especially when you're like sick. I remember when I got out of the hospital, it was summertime. Like, I forget when. I went in March, and then I left. And I remember it was already hot outside. And it was miserable for me. Because it was like I didn't feel good, you know. The chemo and stuff running through my system, and then it was just like oppressive heat.
Yeah.
So I just spent most of my time in this.
It's a bad memory.
Yeah, it is. It's not a time that I look fondly on, as far as like how I felt, you know.
Well, it certainly was the beginning of a very bad patch. It's lasted for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So you look well today.
Thank you. But I don't necessarily feel all that great.
Huh?
You know, I just was at the doctor day before yesterday.
For that shot?
No. That's next week.
Okay.
I had the shot the week before. I had the shot the week before.
Okay.
But I was there for a different reason. So this mucus buildup is starting to happen now in my throat. So there's this gurgling sound when I breathe out when I'm laying down. It happens all the time. It just happened. It just started up one day. I don't know how, or I can't even remember when, but it just started up. So it's this gurgling. And it keeps me up at night. And it's just like this mucus phlegm sort of build up. I spit it out. It's red. I think it's blood, but I'm not sure. Yesterday I went to go get the day before yesterday. Yeah, the day before yesterday I went to go get I went to the doctor afterwards. I went to get chest X-rays because she said a chest X-ray because she was concerned that she was concerned that it might be like a heart thing. And this is not the first time I've heard that. Like the last time I was admitted to the hospital in December, at the beginning of December last year, they said they thought they saw something like having to do with my heart. But that is associated with the first time I went to the hospital back in March. They said they saw something. They said there was like a fluid buildup around my heart. So they tried to do a biopsy, but they couldn't because I stopped breathing during the course of the procedure. Every time they went in, I just stopped breathing. So they couldn't do it. But they said they saw something. And I guess it cleared itself up. So I've just been periodically getting chest X-rays, and they've been saying that every time I get like a X-ray, they say there's something there, but it's not bad enough for them to do anything about it. But it's not nothing. That's what they sort of say.
What would they do about it?
I don't know. I guess they'd have to do further examination, maybe to assess it, maybe to see if it's like what the when I was at the doctor's office, what she was concerned about is because I don't pull any punches with her. We don't pull any punches with each other. She was concerned that it might be some sort of heart disease type of heart thing, some sort of heart condition. So she wanted to make sure that it wasn't. So she should have got the results back yesterday, or maybe it might be a couple of days from now, but I haven't heard anything. So it's not something I'm really concerned about. If it is a heart thing, then it's like, well, what can I do about it? You know what I mean? At this point, it's just like, whatever.
It's just another thing.
Yeah, it's just another thing. The throat thing is what's really bothering me, though, because it's like it builds up at night, and then when I go to sleep, there's this gurgling and whistling sound that if I breathe out when it's happening, it's audible. Like you can hear it. You can like audibly hear it. So it's not like a thing that's centralized to just being in my throat that only I can hear and feel. Like I did it to I let the doctor listen to the sound. She could actually hear it. My mom heard it, so it is an actual thing. So what the doctor decided to do was to give me something like Mucinex. She gave me like the medicinal Mucinex to maybe loosen up some of the mucus so I can spit it out. It's been working, but it just keeps producing more and more. So I don't know what's going on. And it feels like it's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's just all these little things. Like I liked it better when it was just like one major thing, and now all these little things keep popping up. Like the sweating is still happening, throat thing's still happening. You know, the feet are still swelling, but it's not as bad. You know, I'm taking all these.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
Then mucus is not coming from your sinuses. It's coming from your chest.
Yeah, it's coming from. It's like it's centralized in here.
I see.
So, because I've always been a congested person. Like, I've always been congested. Like, my whole life, I've just been, like, a really congested person. Mm-hmm. But it's never bothered me like this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's never been a problem where it's just excess mucus buildup in the throat that I can visibly spit out. Mm-hmm. And it's got, like, this red tinge, so I'm concerned that, like, my throat might be bleeding. I'm not really sure. Because when I got sick in December, I vomited. And like all of this red stuff came up, but I didn't know if it was blood or what it was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was like the tacos I ate last night or if it was blood. I don't know. But they didn't see anything when I went to the hospital. They didn't see anything. There, you know, I've just assumed that if there was like internal bleeding, they would have caught it and they would have told me there was. But they didn't mention anything about it. And they did chest X-rays. They did like like ultrasound on the lungs, the chest, and all that stuff. They didn't find anything. So it's weird because anytime something happens, I go to the doctor and it stops until I get home, and then it starts again.
That's true. It's also true with your car when you bring it into the mechanic. You don't hear that sound? I just heard it this morning.
Right. You know, and it always seems like that. I'm just like, look, this was happening just right before I walked in here, and now I'm fine. And then when I go home, it starts again. But this time, the doctor was able to catch it. So I don't really know what's happening. I was telling her, like, you know, my life is just spiraling out of control. I have no idea. I have no control. I have no control anymore. Like, I have completely lost control of everything. And I can't get it back. You know, despite everything I'm trying to do, I can't get it back. Like I think that I have at this point exhausted every kind of resource that I possibly could. I was thinking about, well, what can I take to sort of minimize the mucus problem, but then I'm just like, well, what's the point? Because it's not going to work. It feels like it kind of feels like every chance that I make to try to help myself, it feels like something is pushing against me. That's what it feels like. It's like things that should normally work just don't. And this is not me feeling sorry for myself, because some people will be like, oh, well, you know what your problem is? Well, what's that? Oh, you're just a quitter. It's like, okay, I didn't realize that, failing kidney was a mind over matter thing. Silly me. I'm just a quitter. I don't try hard enough for my kidneys not to be damaged. Silly me. I'll try harder not to have kidney disease. But it's just like this stuff that should be working just doesn't. And I'm like, what can I do to just like... It kind of feels like there's something preventing me from getting better. That's what it feels like. If I'm being completely open, it feels like there's There's something stopping. There's something that is stopping me from getting the help I need. That's what it feels like. And I know how ridiculous it sounds, but that's what it feels like. And it's just, this is simple stuff that should be working, but for whatever reason, it's just not.
So it's one thing after another, and you should be getting better, but things keep happening. Just if it's not this, it's something else, and it just seems like it's out of control.
That's what it feels like. Like, for the first time in my life so far, I feel like I have no control over anything. And thus far, it's different when you're young in your 20s and you're like some filthy millennial and you think that, like, you just go with the flow. But then once you get older, you start realizing that, hey, you know what, I can control all this stuff. Like when I was getting closer to 30, like in my late 20s, I started really realizing that, like, I don't have to do anything. I control all this. So I can just do whatever I want. If I don't want to accept bad behavior, I don't have to. If I don't want to have shitty friends, I don't have to.
Right.
If I don't have to accept this, I don't have to take that, I don't have to take this.
Right. You can eat what you want. You can do what you want.
Right. And I started realizing that, And now, for the first time in a long time, and I took that initiative. I dropped all my shitty friends. I started devoting more time to doing stuff I like, playing video games, models, whatever it was. And now this is the first time where it's like, I have no control over whatever's happening. I can't control this no matter what. And people will try to tell you that you can't. Like, I had a guy a long time ago, somebody used to know, tell me, well, life is what you make it. That's bullshit. That's about half right. You're 50% right. Life is what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like 50% of that is completely out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
That you just have, you get dealt these bad hands. So life isn't what you make it. It's like with me, like life, like it feels like I'm destined. I was destined to be sick, like throughout these periods of my life. Was that is that my design? Life, is that how I wanted my life to go? But this was coming from a person whose life is good. Only like people whose lives are good say stupid shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
People who have no perspective about like what the world is really like around them.
Right, it's easy for them to say.
Right, because they live in this bubble where everything goes right. Like, yeah, if I had fool's luck and everything just went right whenever I needed to, and I was always in the right place at the right time, and nothing backfired on me, I'd have that same outlook. But unfortunately, I'm a real person, and I don't have the luxury of having that sort of stunted point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So when people tell me that kind of stuff, I give no credence to any of that stuff because they obviously don't know.
Right.
Because if you know, you wouldn't say stuff like that.
Right.
People with experience don't say stupid shit like that.
Right.
And it's like, when all of this started, I had all of this fire. Not fire. I had all of this like determination, but it wasn't a determination that I kept. It wasn't a determination that I put out there. You read Facebook and Instagram and you got all these people talking about determination and stuff like that. I internalize it. So if it doesn't come to fruition, I don't put that out there. And I feel foolish. Not make myself look like a fool, but I feel foolish because I put this out there and then everything went wrong. And now I feel stupid because I believed this thing. I believed in this thing that I told myself I was going to do, and now I can't do it. So I always had this sort of inner self-determination that once this HLH stuff worked itself out, I was just going to go back to doing what I normally would do.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, it just got worse and worse. The HLH and all that stuff, the chemo, all that stuff, and then it turned into the kidney disease, and that's when things really started to like. That's when the kidney disease started to happen. That's when I started realizing I have no control over this. Like I have lost control of this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have no idea what to do. I am just out here. I am out in this boat. There's no sails. There's no oar. There's no wind. There's nothing.
You're working without a safety net.
Yeah, I'm just out here. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get better from this. I don't know if I'm going to get worse. I don't know if I'm going to get a transplant. I don't know if I'm not going to get a transplant. I don't know if I'm going to live from this. I don't know if I'm going to die from this. I don't know. But when I was at the doctor, I found out that evidently I have an appointment coming up with UC Davis that I was not aware of.
That's outrageous.
No, but because you've been talking to me for a long time, that falls exactly in line with the kind of...
That's perfect, right?
Right. It falls exactly in line with how my life is.
I see.
So see, now you starting to see like how kind of my life is.
Yeah, I've been seeing it for over a year.
Right.
For sure.
I had no clue that this UC Davis thing was coming up. No clue.
I'm sorry for laughing. It's just so outrageous.
No, but...
This is like, your life. It's like life-saving. It's like, could be, a real something to hang your hat on, and you don't even know what the appointment is, and that they made it, and they don't tell you.
Right.
It's so outrageous. It's freaking outrageous.
Did not get a phone. I never got a phone call. I never got a text message. Nobody notified me of this. The doctor who's completely unrelated to nephrology. She has no nephrology training. She's just a general care doctor. As a matter of fact, she's a physician's aide.
Okay.
So she's not even a doctor. She's just a PA.
Okay.
So she's looking at her computer and she's like, "Oh, well, you have an appointment coming up." And I was like, "This is news to me."
When is your appointment?
I have no idea.
You still don't know when it is?
I don't know. She just said she saw it in her notes that it's coming up. I have no clue. I'm going to see my nephrologist next week, and hopefully she tells me something. But I was under the impression that they were going to call me.
Is it possible that they just put it in the notes that you should have an appointment with UC Davis? That it just shows that that's what they're trying to get scheduled, but is it because it doesn't have the date?
It's possible. It's possible.
Anything's possible.
Yeah,
right?
it's possible. At this point, I have no idea what I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they have like, if it's just a thing to get me on a waiting list. I don't know if it's a thing where they're just like, "Oh, well, we just happen to have one of these kidneys lying around. You ready to go?" Or I don't know what's going on.
Do you think you should call your nephrologist before you go next week just to make sure?
I did.
Okay, good.
But she didn't return my call.
All right.
Like I didn't get a phone call back. So I'm going to see her next week. So hopefully, the appointment is not next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah, because if that's the case, then like I need my mom to come with me. Because if I don't, they're gonna reject me because I don't have any friends. So, yeah, there's that.
You have to do a little preparation.
Yeah.
With her, you can't just tell her at the last minute.
Yeah.
Well, that's outrageous. I wonder if it is an appointment. It seems like they would have the date down, but
I don't even know how she knew. I didn't even know that she knew. Because I know that they keep her in the loop of what's happening. But I don't know to the extent of what she does know and what she doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I see her, she knows stuff that happened to me like, months ago. Like she knew about the whole HLH thing. When I was in the hospital, she knew I was there. I was in the process of trying to see her when I first got sick. And then I ended up in the hospital. And I didn't see her for like a year and a half after that. And then she just somehow she knew everything that was happening to me up until that point. Like the oncologist was keeping her in the loop, and then the nephrologist, so I don't know what she does know or what she doesn't know. But I know that she has like detailed notes of everything that's been happening to me thus far. Which is a good thing, because it shows that they're communicating, so I don't have to keep explaining the same thing over and over and telling her. and that she cares enough to like invest in my like continued health, which
Right.
is
She's
nice.
reading the notes. She cares. She's up to speed when
Right.
you see her, and probably gives you a pretty good feeling, which you don't get from that many people. But
Not really, unless they're like, not really, not really. But it's nice to know that she has an invested interest in me getting better. She's expressed as much. Like there's a real human element to her that I like a lot.
absolutely.
That she actually cares about me as a person, which is nice. she's good at what she does. She's a nice lady.
Some of you will get some more insight about the appointment from your nephrologist, and then there's the last time we went. She said, "I've got good news. It didn't go down. It was still the same 19% or whatever it was,
Yeah.
kidney function." And I guess, in talking to you over all this time, I know you don't like to hang your hat on hope, but I'm sure that there's some element of, well, hope it doesn't go down, and maybe, maybe I'll get good news again. But you don't want to get too wrapped up in that.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. It's good that it's not going down any further. Like I'd be lying to you if I said that it didn't. I don't have. It's not like the kidneys aren't just going to regenerate back to what they were. Like I have enough, sense to know that. But it's good to know that they're holding out long enough for me to get to something. They're holding out long enough for me to get to an appointment, or because I still need the kidney transplant. Like I can't stay like this. I could, but like I can't stay like this. I'm just on the razor's edge of, if something happens, then that's full renal failure, and that could kill me. So I can't stay like this. So something has to be done. But it's good to know that I'm the fear has subsided somewhat as far as like this dialysis, because I really didn't want to do that. I didn't really want to get the thing in the catheter in the stomach and the shunt in the arm. These are things I didn't want to do. So it's good that I have just a little bit more time to avoid those two things. Like I guess they're still on the docket to be done, but at least I still have some time to be normal. You know what I mean? Before all that stuff happens. Because I'm not looking forward to it. This is not something I'm excited about. I'm not excited to have like a shunt put in or catheter. I'm not excited about any of this stuff. And making room for this machine, and because the machines aren't small. They're like these giant machines. They're not like the big machines that you see at like the dialysis. Have you ever seen a dialysis machine?
No.
They're like these giant refrigerator-sized machines. The ones at the DaVita, yeah. They're like these giant refrigerator-sized machines, and they have all these tubes connected to them, and they connect to the catheters they connect to like the shunt that's in here. So the shunt is made of your own blood vessels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this one large blood vessel that's made of your own. So they go in and they don't insert anything, but they use your own blood vessels to create it. So it's this one giant blood vessel. So what they do is they take these huge syringes and they insert them into the shunt. Kind of very similar to how they use the port in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And those tubes connect to this giant refrigerator-sized machine.
Mm-hmm.
And your blood goes in there, and it cycles through. You see these like two giant wheels, and your blood cycles through these machines to clean them, and then from there, it goes back into your blood. It goes back into your body, and it's not just like a one-time thing. It's like a 4 or 5 hour process of it going in, getting cleaned, coming back, going out, coming back in, going out, and the process is done several times over several hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a time-consuming thing. So I'm not looking forward to, but that's what the machines look like.
Mm-hmm.
And the smaller ones, they're not as big, but they're still like they're about the diameter of that table right there.
Uh-huh.
And they're big. They look like fax machines, printers. And they do the same thing with the peritoneal. So you get these 3 giant liquid bags. They're like the bags like this big, and they're full of liquid. And you connect them to these tubes, and the tubes are connected to a catheter inside your stomach. And throughout the night for 8 hours, every day, they pump this peritoneal fluid into you, and they sort of use your body as like the chamber that would be kind of like what the machine would do. And so they fill you up with this fluid. The peritoneal fluid sort of grabs all the waste and then takes it away. And then it fills you up and then takes it away and fills you up.
It doesn't filter your blood, it does something else.
Yeah. It uses like the peritoneal fluid to like filter your body a different way, to get rid of fluids a different way. So it's not blood. One is blood and one is hemodialysis and the other one is peritoneal. It does the same thing, but it does it differently.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. I wonder how it must have been brilliant minds to come up with stuff like this.
Yeah, the advancement in medical science to be able to have somebody come to the conclusion that, hey, you know what, this thing that was killing people doesn't necessarily have to do that if we just do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just take these measures and use this technique and we use these fluids and or that, hey, I got a good idea, why don't we try this? And then they do it and it works, and they're just like, oh, we're just going to take that, we're going to refine it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, people have an option.
Wow.
So I'm getting both procedures done just in case, but it's not happening anytime soon because of the kidney degradation has stopped thus far. So I don't know where it is now. I still have to get blood work done before I go back to the nephrologist.
Before next week. You're coming back next week.
That's the 22nd.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said that you were going. Oh, yeah. Next week is the 22nd.
Yeah.
You're going on Wednesday the 22nd.
Mm-hmm. So I have to get the blood work done before then.
So you're going to do it today or tomorrow, I assume.
If it's Wednesday, I usually do it the day before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I usually do it the day before. But then I have to go, at the same time. But like my schedule's packed next week because I have to go get blood work done. I have to get the epoetin shot. Then I have a doctor's appointment. So that way the doctor can tell me what's going on with my chest and the mucus. Then after that I have to go to the kidney doctor.
I see.
So my week is so it's packed. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I come here to see you on Thursday. So it's packed. Like I'm busier than
This is some job you have.
Yeah, it's like a part-time job I don't get paid for. Like I'm doing this for free. It's just.
It's not fun.
No, it's really not. It really isn't.
And there's a lot of anxiety along with it too.
Yeah, of not knowing what's going to happen, of
what they're going to tell you, and I mean, doctor's appointments are not fun generally. Just getting there and being on time, and are you going to have to wait, and oh my goodness.
And then when you walk in and talk to them, you don't know. I have no idea what they're going to tell me. They can tell me anything. Like I could go see the doctor next week, and she could tell me I have heart disease. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it's a possibility. I would be foolish to be one of these, eternal sunshine type of people that always looks on the bright side. Because it's like, well, it's not always sunny. You know, it's not always sunny. It doesn't always work out just because you want it to. Times you just have to face the facts of what's really happening to you, so that way you can deal with it. Like if I was one of these ultra positive people, there's no way I'd be able to deal with any of this. If I was one of these people, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna beat this thing. You know, HLH, yeah, man, I'm gonna kick the shit out of HLH. Oh, now I have kidney disease. Well, you know, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna beat that, you know, kick the shit out of kidney disease. Kidneys fail. Oh, well, you know, I'm gonna get on this dialysis, and it's just...
Well, you've also come to the realization that control, which is what everybody strives for in their life, is really an illusion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
although you think you have control, you could get hit by a meteor.
Yeah, you could get hit by a meteor. I like how, like, I thought you were gonna say like something mundane, like a bus or a car.
No.
But like the
Something
infinitesimal,
really obscure.
right,
Yeah.
right, like getting a rare disease that is usually something that children get. You know, like as a grown 30-something-year-old man.
And everybody strives. I mean, and I see it all the time. People are, you know, hoarding. They're, you know, doing, you know, not stepping on cracks. Everything is all about getting control. You know, controlling the anxiety in their lives. And sometimes when, you know, people do enough things, that they have the illusion that, you know, that they've really got, you know, got a handle on everything. And then something can come along and just completely upset the apple cart. Unfortunately for you, it came along in the prime of your life, which really, really sucks.
Yeah, it did.
And also, when you were, and at a time when you were really starting to gain some traction in your life, when you were, you know, as you said 15 minutes ago, where you were realizing that, you know, you can pick and choose your friends, you can pick your activities, you can, you know, you were really starting to get some traction.
It felt like I was getting better for the first time.
Yeah.
Of like, there were things that I was looking at in my life that I decided to change. Of like, you know what, I don't necessarily have to constantly be around the same people doing the same thing. I can do whatever I want. And why should I have to settle for being unhappy when I know what makes me happy, and then I can just go do that instead of settling for being in situations or being around people or being with somebody that doesn't make me happy. Just for the sake of doing it, or just for what society tells you you need in order to be fulfilled in life. I don't have to do any of those things. And that's sort of where I was moving to. And then, you know, I got sick. And then after that, I just slipped right back down to immersing myself in bad memories. And the only reason why I do that is because I feel sick. It's because I'm sick.
You have more time to dwell on it.
Right.
But you know, it seems to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you have processed a lot of negative memories. You know, talking about your friends, how they disrespected you, how they betrayed you. In the time that you've come in here, it seems like you've let a lot of that stuff go and just accepted these people were real jackasses, and they didn't really care, and maybe accepted some personal responsibility, you know, for bonding with these people, and you're a very trusting person, so obviously that maybe that had something to do with it as well.
You know what, with that, it comes and goes. Sometimes I'm okay with it, and then sometimes I'm fine with it, and then sometimes I'm furious about it. You know, but it really just depends on how I feel on any given day.
I see.
You know, like when I was feeling really, like before all this stuff happened, when I was feeling really good, and I was just like I was just on point. I was at the top of my game, and I just, I was like, I was just cooking on all cylinders and stuff like that. I didn't have time for this kind of stuff, like I was too busy training and and going to work, and then you get sick, and it feels like, from my perspective, and I can't speak for anybody else or how they view themselves. But for me, it feels like when something bad happens to you, it feels like you're the only person that it's happening to.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like all the bad stuff just happens to you, and that's sort of where I feel I am right now. Now, these people that I used to know, I haven't seen these people in years. When they do see me someplace, they run for the hills. Like, they run to the nearest exit. Like, they
pretend they don't even know you.
Right. No, but see, the weird thing is, and maybe this is just me projecting, but it feels like they stick around just long enough for me to know that they're there, then they take. That's what it feels like for me. I don't know if that's what they're necessarily doing, because I don't know them anymore. I don't know what kind of people they are. I only know the version of them when I knew them. I seriously doubt any of them have changed. But that's the people that I used to know when I knew them. Mm-hmm. But like, all of this negative stuff happens to you, and it feels like you're the only person that it's happening to. And it's like, man, if I was better, none of this would be a problem. If I could just feel better. If I could just make myself feel better. If this situation, if I wasn't me, this would be so much different. And it's like, man, why do I always have to be the one that has to pay for everything? And you see all of these incompetent bumblers all around you, just skirting by, doing little to nothing. And they have these full and rich lives. Or that's how it's like, the grass is always greener on the other side. I don't know the inner workings of their life. For all I know, they could be miserable. I don't know. But from my perspective, it's like, when I was feeling good, this kind of stuff didn't bother me as much. And now that I'm feeling bad, it feels like everybody's gloating at the fact that I'm sick. Like, they want me to fail.
Uh-huh.
And every time I get sicker and sicker, it's just like, it feels like it's proving them right.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, you are a failure. You are sick because you're a piece of shit, Carl, and you deserve this. That's what it feels like.
But intellectually that's ridiculous.
Yes, I know. I know that. That this kind of stuff just this kind of stuff just happens. I know that.
Right, and it could happen to them.
Right.
And even though they look like their life is really working, something may be going on that you don't even see.
Right.
So, look, it's no consolation. In the final analysis, life is about suffering. I mean, it's just, there is suffering, and everybody is going to ultimately die. And that's the sad truth of being alive. I can understand how you would feel really ripped off. I would feel that way too. Who wouldn't?
That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's just like, why? And you know what? I know that this is something that happens. It's not. I'm not being targeted. You know what I mean? It's not like I wasn't destined to be sick, and this is not some sort of cosmic retribution for something that I did to somebody. Sickness just happens. People just get sick. The healthiest people in the world get sick. That bicyclist, what's his name? Armstrong.
Testicular cancer?
Yeah. Guy was in the peak physical condition. Testicular cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you see these athletes getting struck down by these life-threatening illnesses. Like, for example, there was this professional wrestler, Roman Reigns. He got cancer.
Right, you were telling me about him.
Right. He had, I don't know what kind of form of cancer he had, but it's like, this guy eats right, works out every day, keeps himself in a not good shape, but he keeps himself healthy. You
You were
know,
telling me you were ticked off because he would get up on a soapbox and say how great his life was now that he's beaten it and he's free of cancer.
right? And he does, and to this day, it still pisses me off. The fact is, like, who the hell is this dude? You know, like, why does this guy get off easy, and I don't?
Right.
But the point is that you could be in any walk of your life, you can be in any stage of health, and something like this can just happen to you.
It's true.
And you have a lot of people that are under this illusion that whatever it is they're doing right now is whatever they're going to always do. And I was telling you last week, people don't. A lot of the sheep don't see the wolves in the tree line, but the wolves are always there. You may not always necessarily see them, but they're always there. But I do. All these other sheep, they don't see, but I know they're there. I see it firsthand. I've seen the wolves firsthand. And it's just like, especially with a lot of the guys I used to know, they're under this impression that whatever they're doing right now is what they're always going to do. Like, oh yeah, man, like life is really good and it's always going to be like this. And it's like, you have no idea. You have no idea. But that goes back to that fool's luck. And it feels, from my perspective, it looks like everybody has it but me, And it's like, you have no idea that, like, all of this stuff that you regard so much, that you think makes you so much better than me and everybody else. I had one time I had somebody say that I was pathetic because the only relationship that I had was with my mother. That's what she said. And what she doesn't realize is that her life, this make-believe life that she has with her husband and now her kid, could be over. Just like that. She has no idea. Her kid could get sick. She could get cancer. She could get sick. Her husband could die. Her husband could leave her. Her kid could die. And her whole life would change just like that. And all these things that you think makes you so much better than me can be taken away from you at the blink of an eye. So who the hell are you to sit on your high horse and tell me that I'm a piece of shit?
So, Carl, I remember you telling me about this woman and about it was related to, I don't know, she seems like an angry person, this lady, and you got blindsided by this remark. She's an ignorant idiot. So, I mean, I'm hoping that you can disregard this and let it go. Obviously, it's very hurtful, and it's not true. You're leading your own life the best way you possibly could do it, and you're doing what you wanted to do. For the most part. Don't give her. I know you did at one point. Don't give her all this power. She's a jerk to say stuff like that. She doesn't have a clue about who you are.
I keep telling myself that, but
Shouldn't be any but.
I still slip back into it, and I'm trying. Like, I'm trying.
I know.
I know. I'm trying to just focus on, because every ounce of energy that I'm not spending on healing, every ounce of energy that I'm using on, like, all this bullshit all this bullshit that really doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't know these people. Occasionally I might see them from time to time, but they're not going to say anything to me, because that would take, like, courage, guts. They're not going to do that. And I'm not going to ever get an apology, because I'm always wrong, according to society. So,
some people just couldn't apologize anyway. I mean, Donald Trump is never going to apologize for anything. It's just, some people just don't apologize. It's just for some reason they can't do it. It's insecurity, I think. But, you're not going to get anything from this woman, that's for sure. You don't even have any contact with her. So right. Why would you? You know who you are. I mean, in your heart of hearts, you know the battle you've done, you've been waging for the last couple of years. A lot of people couldn't have done what you've done, and you keep going. You're in a way a little like the Energizer Bunny. You just keep going.
sometimes I ask myself like why I keep not in the vein of man I should probably just kill myself, but I wonder it's like what sometimes I think about like my current situation and I think to myself like what am I even doing? You know, like why am I trying so hard to like you know what I mean? Like why do I keep trying so hard to just keep like the novelty of living is like waning. You know, I was watching this episode of Rawhide, right? You remember Rawhide?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, I was watching an episode of Rawhide, and there was this one guy.
Rowdy.
The
Is a guy named Rowdy or something like that in Rawhide? No.
no,
It doesn't matter.
They're his sidekick. I forget his name because Rawhide wasn't really like one of my shows. But you know, his friend just somebody asked him something about like why because he was injured and somebody was like, well, why do you keep doing this? Like, what do you keep trying to hold on for? And the guy was just like, no, you just live, you just keep on living, you know, living is living. And for whatever reason, that stuck with me. Not for any positive reasons, but I'm like, for what? Like, the novelty of living is not as novel as it used to be. You know? Like, there's just people that just have, like, this zest for life, and it's just, yeah, they have that zest for life as long as you are able to do it. But when you have been sick for as long as I've been sick, the novelty, the life sort of loses its shine and its luster, especially when this sickness keeps persisting, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna get any better. Like when you're on the mend, there's this light at the end of the tunnel. But when you've been sick for as long as I have been, it's like what am I even doing? Like why? What is the point of me continuing to do this if nobody can give me any answers? Nobody can help me with anything, and I just keep getting worse. Like, what am I doing? You know, I don't want to get to a point where it's just, you know, I'm just like this shell of who I used to be, and I'm just sitting, you know, in a hospital bed, hooked up to all this stuff. And it's like, what am I even doing anymore? You know, that's sort of what it feels like.
I understand.
You know, and that episode of Rawhide just kind of stuck with me because I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, like, what? Because the guy didn't have an answer for him. He was just, well, you just keep. He didn't have an answer. He just, well, you just live. You just keep on living. You know, living is living. It's like this guy couldn't answer the question of what the meaning of his life was. You know, you just do it just because you just keep doing it.
Well, I think probably people have been asking that question for as long as people had consciousness and could think. You know, what does it mean? What does it all mean? You know?
Yeah, and it's a question that I very much struggle with on a regular basis. Like, you know, every time a new symptom comes up, or you know, like I've been waking up at like 1:00. No matter what time I go to bed, I've been waking up at 1:00 every night. Every night, I just get up, and I stay awake because I can't breathe, and then you know I just sit there, and I'm just like, what am I even doing? What am I even doing? Like I wish something would happen.
So it's another symptom. It's another thing that's come up for you, which is concerning. Obviously, this breathing thing and the mucus. By the way, have you tried elevating your head? I mean, it seems like when you're walking or upright, it's not as big of a problem.
No, it's not. I do that. I try to, but it's really difficult to sleep from a sitting position. Like if I'm sitting like this, I'm fine. But the second I lay down, it starts to build up. And I've tried to sleep in a elevated position. It's a lot harder. It's really difficult to get a good night's sleep.
Right.
In an elevated position. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just difficult.
I figured you would have tried that anyway. So.
Yeah.
All right, you've got a full plate ahead of you, a full week ahead of you next week. I hope your week goes smoothly and you get some better news. That's always my thought. I know you don't hold a lot of hope, but I do. Forgive me for hoping.